Hi guys, welcome back to the Playroom. Today, we're going to take a look at some Imperial Japanese Army Paratroopers, or the Giretsu Kuteitai. The Imperial Japanese Army developed an airborne paratroop force in the late 1930s. Army paratroops were first deployed in combat during the Battle of Palembang on Sumatra, which is now Indonesia, on 14 February 1942. The Japanese paratroopers were celebrated in Japan through songs, publications, and paintings. Additionally, the paratroopers were idolized as devoted soldiers who were willing to fight and die for their emperor and their nation's cause. The uniforms of Japanese Army paratroops was similar to that of the German Fallschirmjäger. They wore a padded leather helmet that was later replaced by a steel one similar to that one worn by the Luftwaffe paratroopers. The troops wore standard infantry equipment and additional ammunition bandoliers. In the Philippines campaign later in the war, the uniforms were changed to the standard Army khaki colored uniform with brown belts and harnesses, the yellow star in the cap, and dark or light brown boots and gloves. The Japanese Army paratroopers wore badges depicting a golden kite, similar to pilots' wings, as well as a roundel emblem depicting an open parachute and star. Here's an example of the jump wings on this old vintage photo. They also wore a distinctive Japanese Army paratrooper sleeve patch. The first specifically designed Japanese military parachute was the Type 1 of 1941, which had a canopy diameter of 28 feet. The particular Japanese method of opening the chute through the use of static lines was quite dangerous and liable to failure. Each paratrooper carried a reserve chest pack. The Japanese training program required jumps between 300 to 500 feet, which didn't give much time to deploy the emergency chute, let alone delay the deploying of the main canopy. The Giretsu Kuteitai was an airborne commando unit formed in November 1944 as a last-ditch attempt to reduce and delay the Allied bombing raids on the Japanese home islands. After American B-29 bombers began attacks on Tokyo from bases in the Mariana Islands, the 1st Raiding Brigade of the Teishin Shudan was ordered to form a commando unit for a special operations mission to attack and destroy the bombers on Aslito Airfield on Saipan. The Giretsu operations were to be undertaken at night, beginning with airstrikes by bombers. After this, commando units would be inserted onto the target airfield by crash landing their transports. The fact that there was no provision for extraction of the strike force, along with the rejection of surrender in Japanese military doctrine at the time, meant that the Giretsu ground operations were effectively one-way missions. On the night of 24 May 1945, 12 Ki-21 bombers that had been converted to transports were dispatched, each with 14 commandos on board. 8 were assigned to attack Yontan Airfield and 4 to Kadena Airfield. 4 aircraft aborted the mission with engine problems, and 3 more were shot down. However, 5 managed to crash land on Yontan Airfield. Only 1 plane landed successfully. About 10 surviving raiders armed with submachine guns and various explosives then wreaked havoc on the supplies and nearby aircraft. They killed 2 U.S. servicemen, destroyed 70,000 gallons of fuel and 9 aircraft, and damaged 29 more before being nearly annihilated by the defenders. Their plan was, after the initial mission was accomplished, the unit planned to disperse into the jungle and carry out further guerrilla attacks on American positions. But only one member of the raiding party survived, and he was able to make his way across the battlefield, reaching the 32nd Army headquarters in Okinawa around the 12th of June. A second large-scale attack on bases on the Marianas, with the specific intent of destroying the B-29 superfortresses, was again planned with 60 transports and 900 commandos. But before that could happen, Japan surrendered and the operation was canceled. Following the end of hostilities, the Japanese paratroopers were disarmed, demobilized, and repatriated home. Although some continued to fight as holdouts and continued to resist for years. Well, that's enough for today, but you can stop back anytime. Playroom's always open. Big Sarge always here. See ya.